Hello. Did you see that cat? Hello. I'm Nicole. This is my politically incorrect page, where we can talk about stuff without really worrying about how we talk about it. Welcome back. I know that those of you, well, you guys will catch the replay. I didn't announce this talk because this is my newest channel and I'm still working on some of the back ends of it. However, feel free to comment the after, if you catch the replay, and I do respond to all of my comments. All right. I wanted to update you on Joe Biden and the migrant package. I don't know if you remember a while back, I was telling you that there was discussion about giving out 400 and compensating families that were separated during the Trump administration at the border. I wanted to let you know that Biden rejects paying $450,000 to each migrant family. Actually, it was to each person. To the migrant family separated at the border during the Trump administration. If you caught that stream that I talked about, the families were suing, but as of today, what's going on right now is that the Biden administration. Let me just read it verbatim, and this is from the Washington Post. I did keep my eye out on this, and it was something that meant a lot to me because I felt a certain type of way paying families. I don't really like to call them immigrants because, but I guess technically they would be. I just don't. I use that term loosely because if they're immigrants or refugees, etc., for political purposes and for status in the United States, it does matter. So I'm trying to tread lightly on that. Let me read you what the Biden administration has said. All right. President Biden says his administration will not financially compensate families who were separated at the border with up to $450,000 in damages. It's been rejected, and it was said that reports about paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in payments was garbage. Hey, Yuri of Dad. Hi there. What do you say? Sulu King the Lion. Put him up. You might need a visa. What? Yuri, okay. After delivering comments. I'm sorry. Soon after the president's declaration, however, the executive director of the American Civil Liberties Union said that the plan is in the works and questioned whether Biden has been briefed about it. After delivering comments on the corona vaccinations for children Wednesday, Biden was asked about reports on the payments and pressed by a Fox News reporter on whether such payments would encourage more people to cross the border illegally. 450,000 per person. Is that what you're saying? The president said that's not going to happen, right? Hey, these aren't my thoughts. I'll give you my thoughts if you want them. But I think that I have to say I'm not happy that families got separated at the border. I'm definitely I don't think that any family should be separated. I think that if we're going to compensate people in the United States, it should be people that's here. And there's just a long line of people that has been hurt. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying refugees are a different story. People that were separated, I think paying out 450 per person, they weren't even talking about per family, is a lot. And as of right now, the Biden administration has rejected that. I'm sorry. That's just what it says. Okay. The ACLU, however, said it was working with the Biden administration on providing monetary payments, but we don't know what those payments are yet. President Biden may not have been fully briefed about the actions of his very own Justice Department, as it carefully deliberated and considered the crimes committed against thousands of families separated from their children as an international governmental policy. Um, and that's coming from the ACLU Executive Director, Anthony D. Romero. That was a statement that he put out. And he also said, but if he follows through on what he said, the president is abandoning a core campaign promising to do justice for the thousands of families that were separated. That's another thing that that's kind of where I have an issue. I'm not saying that something shouldn't be done, but I'm just wondering about the other people here, like African Americans, descendants of slavery and stuff like that, that also has been asking for compensation and been asking for certain things to be done. I think that there is a lot of pain in the United States, and as a country, we need to do healing. And I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but it is what it is. I'm not saying that families should be separated. That's a totally different issue. The monetary compensation is something that I have an issue with. I really want to be stronger as a country. And as far as being Black American, white, whatever, I really wish we can get to a point where we're just Americans. And why are we so caught up with all these identities? I think part of the United States, something that makes us beautiful is that we're here and we have different backgrounds. I think that it's time to strengthen what we have here, right? Um, what was I? Deputy White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters Thursday that the president is perfectly comfortable with the Justice Department settling with the individuals and families who are currently in litigation with the U.S. government. She deferred further comment, however, to the Justice Department. After being pressed by a Fox News reporter, Jean-Pierre said the president's comments on Wednesday were in reaction to the dollar figure that was mentioned. So that is where we are so far. So the DOJ made clear to the plaintiffs that the reported figures are higher than anywhere that a settlement can land. And so right now, it's just ongoing, and I will continue to brief you about that. If there is a settlement, what could become of it, and let me share something that kind of let me share something with you that kind of caught my attention. Again, what I'm reading from is a journal from the entry from the Washington Post, but I've compared it to different things, and I'm just basically summing up what's going on right now. So, not saying that there won't be any monetary compensation, but as of right now, no, we're not. There hasn't been a dollar amount, but 450,000 per person so far has been turned down, and I think that if the number stays up, we're going to continue to see litigation, because I really can't see how is that going to be justified with that dollar amount. I mean, think about it. So if that's 3 people, how much are we paying per family? I don't find that realistic or fair to the Americans that are suffering here right now and to the ones that are starving. I think that would be more like a slap in the face, and it could cause some civil problems here, right? All right. Let me get um let me read this before I go on to the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, okay? This is just a thought. Some reporters were saying, and this is going to sum up what I'm going to say. First of all, let's remember how we got here. These are not my thoughts. I'm reading this from the Washington Post. First of all, let's remember how we got here, how we got to a place where we're dealing with families being separated. This is coming from Jean-Pierre, and this is our comment towards reporters. This is coming from the last administration's cruel, inhuman, immoral policies against people. That's how we got here. It's because of the last administration, and we are trying to deal with it. The Washington Post reported on October 28th that the dollar amounts that would be paid as damages to these families remain under discussion, but one person with knowledge of the discussions estimated that payouts could total $450 per person, with some families potentially receiving $1 million. And And they're asking on President Biden to right some of the wrongs of a national tragedy. I'm not saying that we shouldn't right some of the wrongs, but I'm saying that number even makes me cringe because of the families that are suffering here. And those are my thoughts on that. With that being said, I would like to hear some of your thoughts if you catch the replay. I'm going to move on to the Kyle verdict. And another controversial subject, but for some reason, I don't learn my lesson and I'm going to just jump into this anyway. All right. Um, Let me play something for you again. So, Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty on all charges. Kyle Rittenhouse, wait a second. Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. He's killed 2 people in Kenosha. I don't know why I put Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin and I shouldn't have struggled with that, but I did. It was a 12-person jury. They deliberated for more than 25 hours over 4 days. He's now 18. He was charged with 5 felonies and he has been acquitted. All right. Let's listen to something from the. Let me see if I can. Hang on. I'm going to try to play something for you. He was a teenager when he committed these crimes, but now he's 18 years old. Let me see something. And they're calling a lot of it self-defense, but I'll get into that.
Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis, we the jury find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male, we the jury find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we the jury find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Rose-Royce, we the jury find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. These your unanimous verdicts? Is there anyone? Would you wish the jury poll? Okay. Okay, folks, your job is done and started just about 3 weeks ago. And I told you it could last 2 weeks and 2 days. This is 3 weeks. You were a wonderful jury to work with. You were punctual. You were attentive. And the forgotten 6 over here who had a very difficult job of keeping from discussing the case during the time that they were sequestered as well.
All right. So there you have it. That is the verdict. I had to hide, had to hide something I really hate that I can't really see the chat that well. But I anyway, that I know is tough, and I really am treading lightly of that's a tough one. Let me read this to you. The great aunt of Anthony Huber, one of the men who was fatally shot by Kyle Rittenhouse during the civil unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin last summer, defended her nephew's actions prior to his death. I'm firmly in the camp that he perceived an active shooter and he went to disarm that person. Suzanne Hughes said, "That is the Anthony I knew. He was very much a person who would jump into action." According to a criminal complaint, Huber reached for Rittenhouse's gun with his hand while holding the skateboard in the other. There were a couple of other people who did the same thing, Hughes said. Nobody was successful. He lost his life. I was asked the other day by one of the media people if I thought Anthony would do the same thing again, and I think he would. So again, Rittenhouse was acquitted Friday of first-degree intentional homicide and 4 other felony charges. Whew. Let me read this to you. Okay, I know this is tough. Um, I I feel different ways about it, and I'm just reading to you the verdict, and I'm reading to you some sources that I got from CNN, and I'm not giving you at this time my personal thoughts on it. I'm just simply reading to you the verdict, all right, and some of the thoughts. Uh, Kyle Rittenhouse attorney Mark Richards told CNN that Kyle said if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't do it. And I think it's such a sad situation, and I say rest in peace to the people that lost their life. And I really don't want to read what the attorney has said, but then I would be holding back from extra news, so I will read it. When asked if Rittenhouse wished he had not gone out that night if he thinks he did anything wrong, Richards said, again, Richards is um Kyle Rittenhouse attorney. He was his attorney. Kyle said, if I had to do it all over again and had any idea something like this could happen, I wouldn't do it. I want to be clear that it's not regret for what he did that night under those circumstances, he added. Okay, an attorney is going to say that. Legally, does he think he did anything wrong? CNN asked. Legally, no, Richard said. As for morally, he said he wishes he didn't have to do it. And that is kind of my thoughts as far as you went to a place armed, and how would this have went if he looked differently? How would this have looked if he was somebody from a different ethnic background and he did the same thing? Would they have he was even offered water during the night, he was welcome, and I'm just gonna say I wonder if he was a different shade of white, whatever, would he have gotten out of there even alive? Because we're harsh on other people in different backgrounds. I wonder if he would have gotten the same pass if he was not um, from the background that he's from. And that is just a thought that I'm gonna have to wonder about. Um, and that's what I'm gonna say. And actually, it's pretty heavy for me, especially thinking of what would happen if Nicole decided to jump into some riot and I'm armed and I'm would I be welcomed? Would I be considered a hero, so to speak? Would I be acquitted on all charges? I don't know. Because it definitely hasn't been that way for people that look like me. And that's what I'm gonna say about that. I feel people lost their life that didn't have to lose their life. And I think that it's sad. And I think that justice isn't blind. And I don't know if it ever will be. Those are my thoughts on it. And again, that's why I call this channel politically incorrect. You can agree or disagree, but have an opinion one way or another. But if something is okay for one person, is it okay for another person? Don't bring a skateboard to a gunfight. Can you explain that a little bit, Trey? I feel like I'm getting it. I just feel, again, when you feel comfortable enough to walk into a place with an armed weapon, um, I feel that is privilege because I don't think any person that looks like me will feel comfortable doing that, and nor should we. And I think that then I think that there's a lot of things in place, and there's things that wasn't allowed in the trial that would be allowed in other trials. I don't even know for the matter. I think that there definitely is two sides of um two sides of I don't think the justice system works the same for every person. Nevertheless, he was acquitted. That's my point. And so, according to the eyes of the law, he did nothing wrong. But we've known that just because something is legal, or if you've been acquitted of a crime, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not guilty. I mean, once um, slavery was legal. Does that make it moral? No. So I have my opinions on that. Um, I don't want to see this country further divided based on the color of our skin, because the color of our skin is just that. It means nothing, except it means a lot politically. And when can we get to a place where justice works the same for I don't think it ever will work the same for all of us. I think that we just really need to protect ourselves and know what we're doing and be aware of the things around us. Does that make sense? Okay, let me read Trey's statement again. Don't bring skateboard to a gunfight. You're right. What was that kid doing there though? What was happening was a how did it help? I mean, we have the right to protest. We have the right to peacefully protest, and that can't be jeopardized, or else we are breaking the constitutional law, and we're breaking some people's constitutional rights are being violated. There shouldn't be intimidation for that, and I think that there's a lot of things that we have to go back to. I think that a lot of things are broken, and that's gonna be hard to fix. And right now, with the verdict, what I'm seeing is a lot of animosity. So I don't. It's hard for me to even talk about. Um, and I think I have to leave it at that. I have no. I'm not surprised that he was acquitted. Let me go back to something. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but let me read this. It's so similar. The Cal Rittenhouse case was a case about vigil. Oh darn! Can I pronounce this word? Vigilantism. Vigilantism. Ah, this case is about vigilantism, and I'm hoping that the jury doesn't take the same course as the Rittenhouse jury. Okay, let me give you some background on that. Lee Merritt, an attorney for Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wendy Cooper Jones, told CNN Friday that the not guilty verdict handed down in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse, the teenager who killed two people and shot another during unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, was deeply troubling and very scary for Arbery's family, as closing statements are expected Monday in the trial of three white men charged in Arbery's killing. Okay, let me read this to you. Okay, these are not my words. This is coming from a this is just what's going on. All right, I'm just bringing it to you. Rittenhouse again was acquitted Friday of first degree intentional homicide and further felonies. Merritt, that's Lee Merritt, the attorney for Ahmaud Arbery's mother, said the U.S. justice system historically doesn't work well when the assailants are white. There's a long history of racism that exists within our courts. It's a reality, Merritt said. It's a statistical reality that we see playing itself out. Let me give you some context. Attorneys in the Arbery murder trial are expected to begin closing arguments Monday after 10 days of court proceedings and testimony from more than 20 witnesses. The defense rested its case Thursday, and lawyers and judges are working on uh they've been given instructions. All right. Okay. Um so that is where we are. Following the verdict in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, Justin Blake, the uncle of Jacob Blake, said what was done today was heinous. Rittenhouse, the teenager who killed two people and shot another during unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, was acquitted Friday. I told you about that. Blake also discussed his nephew's case, saying he demands the case be reopened. Okay. So I'm going to end there because now I'm talking about Jacob Blake, and I don't want to confuse you guys with the different stuff that I'm talking about. Just let me know if you guys want me to cover any of those stories too, and I will. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm gonna say good night. I'm just saying that there's so many cases that is similar, and we know that, and I want to again say loss of life is bad, but when the justice system doesn't work for those who've lost a life, I believe in the Rittenhouse case, the deceased were, white Americans, and yeah, I just think that it's just hard. I think that the verdict is bringing up other cases, like that's why I brought up Jacob Blake. This verdict is just making us rethink some other stuff. Rittenhouse verdict will embolden others, says Jacob Blake family attorney. And that's kind of why I brought that point up. All right. So um that's just how I'm gonna end. So you guys, I hope that you are well. And I'm going to end with that. All right, be safe, and I will talk to you soon. Again, my channel is politically incorrect. Feel free to like and subscribe. And I respond to all of my comments. So be safe out there, okay? I want us all to be well and to be here tomorrow. Good night.